Hello, hello, book friends. It has been a minute and a half, hasn't it? It's been a long time since I have posted a bookish video for you. I think it's been a month, maybe more. I had grand plans to post videos once a week and that didn't happen. I've been posting less for a couple of different reasons. One is that you guys, posting videos, it takes a lot of work. Scripting, prepping, coming up with ideas, and then recording, and then editing, and then editing, and then editing, and then editing, and then editing. Uploading even takes time, and it's a lot of work. Recently I started tracking my time, like what I was working on, whether I was working on writing or YouTube or social media or other business related things, and I was kind of surprised at how much time YouTube was taking up. Honestly, my first love is writing. I have no plans to become a YouTube influencer or a YouTube creator. I mean, I am making videos, but it's like supplemental material to what I actually want to be doing with my life, which is writing books. As you might remember, or for those of you who are new here, I published a new book in April, On a Dark Tide. This is book 1 of a series that I'm planning, and I started revising book 2, and I'm just kind of like fully immersed in that world and wanting to work on that. In addition, I published the prequel to On a Dark Tide. Like yesterday, I published this. It is available through Kindle Unlimited currently. You can also get paperback copies. It's a shorter book. It's the prequel to On a Dark Tide. So I have been working on that too. So yeah, there just wasn't a lot of time at the end of the day to make YouTube videos. The other thing that happened last month was that I kind of got into a little bit of a reading slump, and I don't know if YouTube played a role in that. I don't think so. I think it was just kind of timing, my work colliding with my reading, and I just didn't do a lot of reading in July or June or May. And I kind of wanted to try and get out of that reading slump, and I was recording a video where I was going to talk about how to get out of a reading slump and try to get myself out, but I didn't finish it. I might revisit that idea. I don't know. I just, I just needed a break from videos. I told myself when I started making videos that I would only do it if I was having fun, and I was kind of finding myself just dragging my feet a little bit on wanting to make videos, on wanting to edit, especially since like it's summer and I want to be outside and we've been hanging out with friends a little bit more, and ultimately I was just like sitting in my office editing YouTube videos, and I was like, what am I doing with my life? Why am I here? Am I enjoying this? And the answer was no. So I was like, okay, take a step back, take a break, do something else for a while. You know, the people who are here on my channel, thank you so much for being here. But I know you aren't just like constantly refreshing, being like, where's Valerie's next video? I know that you'll just patiently wait until I have one ready. And meanwhile, you just want me to write more books, right? That's what you want, more books. If you don't want more books, if you would rather have YouTube videos, please put it in the comments and I'll change my career plans immediately. But I am back this month with the August TBR jar pick, and I decided to do something a little different this time. I had a lot of fun making it, and I hope you guys have fun watching it. Without further ado, the August TBR jar, let's go. The August TBR jar pick, drum roll please, The Dark Lake by Sarah Bailey. I'm looking forward to reading this book. I think it's right in my wheelhouse, but I've been burned by books that I think I'm going to like before. Also, honestly, this book couldn't be a more perfect pick for me. Ryan and I are about to head out and go camping at a lake, so this feels like some really good book serendipity. We're camping this weekend at Timothy Lake, which is a man-made reservoir in Oregon. There are a lot of developed campsites around this lake. We looked and could not find a spot because it's the middle of the summer, but there are also a lot of more primitive campsites on the other side of the lake. So we packed our gear into our newly refurbished canoe and paddled across the lake until we found a spot. The sunrise was beautiful, just chilling in my hammock, looking forward to cracking this book open. right away I am getting Tana French vibes. The style of the writing is very atmospheric and lush, and right away I am absorbed in this story. It starts out with a man who is jogging around a lake and he finds a woman's body. The woman turns out to be a high school teacher. From the beginning, she's being painted as something of a mysterious character. Then you have the detective, Gemma Woodstock. Already I can tell she's going to be one of those complicated characters that I think readers are either going to love or hate. Today we're going to get some hiking in and some paddling. We'll probably do some swimming, just kind of try and enjoy this cool shady spot that we have found. And of course, I'm going to get some more reading done. The lake was like glass when we woke up this morning, and we went out for a paddle, and then about 20 minutes into it, the wind just started picking up. So we paddled back to our camp. I'm hanging out in the hammock now. The investigation into Rosalind Ryan's murder is starting to pick up, and I'm starting to get to know the character of Gemma Woodstock a little bit better. And oh my gosh, this woman. Drama, drama, drama. So unfortunately, the wind blew in a lot of wildfire smoke this afternoon. It was kind of freaky because we were like, oh no, is there a forest fire close by? But it turns out it was just smoke from like California fires and Canadian fires, and there's a fire burning in Southern Oregon as well. But it did kind of put a damper on our trip. It's really thick, it's not great to breathe. Our eyes and lungs are burning a little bit, so I think we're going to go ahead and cut our trip short. The lake was a mirror again when we woke up this morning. This is only Charlie's like second or third time in the boat, and he's still a little unsure of it, but he's starting to get used to it. He enjoys staring over the edge at the ripples and trying to find fish in the water, which there were plenty of fish and plenty of birds. You can see the wildfire smoke a little bit here. So yeah, we're gonna spend one more day here and then pack up and head home early. I think I'll spend the afternoon reading. You know, another thing that this book reminds me of is that show on HBO, that recent mystery show, Mayor of Easttown. That was a great show. Gemma Woodstock is definitely giving me Mayor of Easttown vibes. Okay, so we've had enough of this smoke. We are packing up the canoe and paddling back out to our car. I was kind of hoping I'd be able to get a little farther in the book, but I only made it about 100 pages. So I'm just gonna have to keep reading the book at home from the comfort of my own couch. Of course, we stopped for pizza on the way home. There's nothing like a little iced coffee when you are going through a heat wave. Around the midpoint mark, or a little bit before, I really got invested in this book. It sucked me in. I could not put it down. The good news is that for the rest of the weekend, we didn't really have anything on our agenda, so I was able to just hunker down and finish reading the book. It definitely helped break me out of this reading slump that I've been in. I did not want to put it down. I was just completely captivated by the investigation, but also by Gemma Woodstock's character arc. She's just a very fascinating character with a lot of different layers. I definitely stayed up past my bedtime to finish this one. So what do you think? Wasn't The Dark Lake by Sarah Bailey just the perfect pick for me for this month? Couldn't have gone any better than that. And honestly, I ended up really loving this book. It had a little bit of Tana French flavor, this complicated female protagonist, Gemma Woodstock, who is our lead detective. She works in an Australian police department, and you know, she is not a likable character. So if you need your female protagonist to be likable, this book is probably not going to be one you're going to enjoy, because man, she made me grit my teeth more than once with her decisions, the way she like behaved in her relationships and how she kind of moved through the world. But the thing is that I completely understood where she was coming from and why she was behaving this way. Even if I didn't always agree with her decisions and her choices, I still felt sympathy for her. I wanted her to make better choices. I wasn't like, ugh, I hate this person. I was just like, this is a damaged person who has gone through a lot in her life and has experienced grief and never fully like processed her losses, and she is just kind of wrecking her life because she doesn't really know another way to do it. Another interesting thing about Gemma Woodstock is that she is a mother, and that plays a role in this book pretty heavily in a way that I found to be pretty interesting, because she's not a great mother. She's not, you know, juggling all the balls. She's not wearing all the hats. She's failing pretty hard at a lot of things. Her work is very important to her, and she picks her work a lot over her family. And that was an interesting way to contrast some of the other things that go on in this book. From the beginning, it was kind of rooting for her to go through that emotional arc, that change that we love to see in protagonists. I thought this was very well done, that emotional arc. You got a lot of depth with Gemma Woodstock, the main lead here. You got a lot of insight into her. You also got a lot of insight into the effect that the crime in this book had on the community. Other people in the town are brought into this story in a very interesting and emotionally stirring way. You also have with this book a little bit of a cliche with the beautiful, mysterious enigma of a woman dying at the very beginning. Rosalind Ryan is murdered, and she is a high school English teacher, a drama teacher, and something of an enigma. People don't really know who she is, or they think they know who she is, but everyone has something different to say about her. And there was a little bit of a Twin Peaks vibe, that Laura Palmer element to it. This beautiful young woman is murdered. But I liked the added element that Gemma Woodstock brings to Rosalind Ryan's character, the kind of way that they mirror and contrast against each other. It's because they grew up together, they went to the same high school, their paths have crossed more than once, and it was interesting to have Gemma as the lead detective for Rosalind's murder when they had that connection. The other thing I loved about this book was the writing, the atmospheric detail that Sarah Bailey drew into the page. She just kind of sinks you into the setting. It's set in Australia during Christmas, and it was really weird for me because Christmas in Australia is hot and there were wildfires, and I was like, wait, you know, Christmas in the Pacific Northwest is cold and there's rain and snow. I really loved how she kind of drew on that heat and that claustrophobia and that just like heaviness of the setting. I kind of wished the lake had played a bigger role. I mean, the lake is where Rosalind Ryan's body is found, but it wasn't, you know, there wasn't like a thriller horror involving the lake. Like, the lake was just where the body was found. I think that because I was staying at a lake, I wanted more of like the monster rises from the depths, but we didn't get that here. It still plays a role in the book, but really this is about a book about people and the decisions they make and how those decisions affect other people, kind of that ripple effect, how crime ripples through a community. So the elements of the police procedural in this book are a little bit tedious at times. I find them to be interesting because I like that kind of fiction, but I think that if you are not a fan of police procedurals, like actually how police are investigating the crimes, there might be parts of this book that you would find a little bit tedious. Places where it felt like we were seeing a lot of the investigation and not a lot of the emotional journey. But I think Sarah did a pretty good job of balancing out the emotional arc of Gemma Woodstock with the actual investigation. So I would recommend this if you love detective novels, if you love police procedurals, if you love mysteries, suspense, psychological suspense especially. This was a perfect read for August, considering that I spent some of it at the lake, and I really hope that you end up checking this book out. It is the first in a series. I think there are 2, maybe 3 more books involving Gemma Woodstock, and I cannot wait to get to them. I am very excited to dig into the rest of this series and see what happens to Gemma. So let me know in the comments if you've read this book or if you are planning to read this book, and also comment and tell me what summer adventures you've been on this year. Have you been camping? Have you been canoeing? Have you gone floating? Have you been to the beach? Comment below, tell me your summer adventures and which book you would want to take with you on those summer adventures. This is the one I took. Worked out pretty great. Okay, so the TBR jar pick was a hit this month. Thank God. I've had a couple of bad months and it's made me scared to go back to the TBR jar, but I'm looking forward to September and I hope you are too. And I'll try to get in another video before then, but I don't know. I got books to write. I have books and books and books to write. So I'll see you next time, whenever next time might be. Thanks for watching.